What's up, Eagles fans? Welcome into the All-22 review. I'm Fran Duffy, and today we're going to look back at the Eagles' win out in Chicago against the Bears, Soldier Field, Sunday afternoon. Very cold weather day, and it was a little bit of a sloppy game for the Eagles, but they came away with the win. Some things to fix on both sides of the football, but also some interesting takeaways as well. And we'll start first with Jalen Hurts on the ground. A 22-yard touchdown run late in the first half got the Eagles the lead that they never relinquished. Hurts ended up with 3 rushing touchdowns on the day. Just the second quarterback since the merger to have multiple 3-touchdown performances on the ground. The other being Dante Culpepper with the Minnesota Vikings in the early 2000s. Let's now get into what allowed Jalen Hurts to reach the end zone on that 22-yard run. The Eagles offense has been absolutely lethal from these empty sets where Jalen Hurts is by himself in the backfield. And you could see pre-snap, he saw something to change this play. And I think what he saw was 5 guys up at the line of scrimmage and the propensity to create an explosive play in the run game. So he goes up to the line and changes to this QB draw. And watch what he's got. He's got 5 on 5, 5 defenders in the line of scrimmage for 5 blockers. I don't know if he's anticipating this blitz or not, but the blitzer comes off the right side. He's going to go up the left side. He might as well have walked into the end zone here untouched, 22 yards for a touchdown. Great job from Jalen Hurts and empty. Jalen Hurts has now accounted for 35 total touchdowns this season. That ties the single season record by the franchise, and that was quarterback Randall Cunningham, who did it all the way back in 1990. So some rarefied air for Jalen Hurts after this performance. But it wasn't just on the ground, because Jalen Hurts also made some great plays through the air as well. Over 300 yards receiving, a lot of that going to Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. And one route has really stood out to me in this Eagles offense over the last few weeks, the slot fade that was present on Sunday against the Bears. Let's break down what makes this route so difficult to defend and why AJ and Devontae run it so well. One route that has shown up time and time again for the Eagles this season, the slot fade. We see it here from Devontae Smith. He's lined up inside with plenty of room outside the numbers for Jalen Hurts to deliver this football. Throw away from the safety. The safety's stuck in the middle of the field. If it's single high man coverage, you've got 2 guys in Smith and an A.J. Brown who can go and be ball winners down the field. And look at the technique from Devontae Smith here. You have to beat the jam. Don't disrupt the timing of the play. Once that corner closes the space, you have to fight through contact. And that's exactly what Smith does here. Watch him with that savvy move to create some separation. He gets full extension here, and he's looking the ball in, go up, and finish. Outstanding technique there from Devontae Smith to come away with this throw on the slot fade, which again has been such a good weapon for the Eagles. He scored that touchdown on 4th and long last week against the Giants on that very same play. But look here, A.J. Brown, similar kind of play. It's a slot fade lined up inside the numbers, throwing away from the middle of the field safety. You see A.J. Brown working down the field, looking this ball in through his eyelids and coming away with a 68-yard catch and run down the field, nearly a touchdown there for A.J. Brown with us all the same coaching points. You're going to make sure you get off the ball very, very efficiently. No wasted movement, no wasted time. Fight through contact here. The corner closes the space. You got to fight through it. You see the full extension there with the inside arm. You watch him look back and finish on this football, track it in over the shoulder, pulling the ball along the sideline. Great awareness there from A.J. Brown, and then nearly score. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, 2 ball winners on the outside for Jalen Hurts on these slot fades. And that long pass to A.J. Brown, that 68-yarder, that was his 19th play of 50-plus yards since he entered the league in 2019. He leads the NFL in 50-yard receptions over that span. Just outstanding work there from A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith on those slot fades. Now, let's quickly get over to the ground game. Miles Sanders, especially in the second half, impactful. His longest run, an 18-yarder. Really creative play by the Eagles and a lot to pick apart here on this blocking scheme with the execution up front. Let's get into what I liked from the Eagles' longest run of the day from Miles Sanders. A lot to like from this 18-yard run from Miles Sanders in the second half of this game. This is the longest run of the day for Sanders, and I call this an inside zone counter run here from the Eagles. You see Devontae Smith coming up as a lead blocker. You have a linebacker there, and Devontae's going to get a little bit of a piece, just a little bit of a wing there on the linebacker. Miles Sanders does a nice job of reading the block from Devontae, who's able to get up to the second level. He gets a second player out in space. Miles able to get up to the second level for an 18-yard explosive play. You see Jason Kelce up at the second level. Lane Johnson out there setting an edge. You see Jack Stoll working there. Zach Pascal getting a pin out in the perimeter. All of these guys doing the dirty work to help spring Miles Sanders for an 18-yard run in the second half. All right, let's now shift gears over to the defensive side of the football where the pass rush really stood out against the dynamic quarterback in Justin Fields. For the 3rd straight week, the Eagles got at least 6 sacks of the quarterback. That is the first time the Eagles have ever done that. Just outstanding from this defensive front. 2 sacks from Haason Reddick, 2 from Javon Hargrave, 2 from Josh Sweat, and 4 of those 6 sacks happened on third down. That has been a very consistent theme from the Eagles, where the pass rush on third down is able to get home and bring the quarterback down for a loss. Let's take a look at some of my favorite sacks on third down and why it wasn't just about those individuals on that play. Coverage and rush are married together. I love what the Eagles have done on third down in recent weeks. So much variety with their coverages, their pressure schemes, the way they're utilizing all of their players. 3rd and 10 here, you're going to see a sack from Josh Sweat. And what I love is what they did on the back end. You see Avonte Maddox used as a quarterback spy here. The Eagles playing man-to-man coverage on the back end with some stunts here up front. You see Javon Hargrave and Josh Sweat do an outstanding job here executing this stunt. Sweat is going to rip his way through contact and get home to Justin Fields, who had nowhere to go with the football. And again, the Eagles using Avonte Maddox as a spy on that play. Well, get a little bit later in the game. It's 3rd and 16. Who's going to be a spy on this one? It's going to be Marcus Epps coming from depth. It looks like that he is playing as almost a robber, but watch what you'll see this right here from the back end as Haason Reddick gets home for the sack. Here comes Marcus Epps coming down from depth. He's got eyes on Justin Fields the whole way, and you see Reddick is able to get home for a sack. Javon Hargrave, he sniffs out a screen pass here. That forces Fields to hold on to the football and gives Reddick time to get home. So between Hargrave setting up the stunt for Josh Sweat on the first sack, stealing away the screen pass on the second sack, it's only right that he gets a third down sack of his own later in the game, right? That's exactly what happens on this 3rd and 5. That's going to be Hargrave getting home for the sack. What did the Eagles do on this play? More of the same. Watch, Marcus Epps is going to drop down late as a spy against Justin Fields. You're going to see Sweat and Hargrave running another stunt, but this time it's an ET stunt where the end goes first. The tackle loops outside, and it's Hargrave getting home for the sack of Justin Fields. Love the variety from this Eagles defense on third down. So one of those guys we saw in that clip was Haason Reddick. He had 2 sacks in the game. It's now 6 straight games where Haason Reddick has registered at least a half sack. First time an Eagle has done that since Trent Cole in 2009. He has been on an absolute tear. He reached double-digit sacks last week. We know that he set that NFL record, being the first player to ever do that for 3 straight teams in 3 straight years. I think when you look at Haason Reddick, his ability to impact the game in all 3 phases has really stood out on film, and he had one of his top games of the season. The way that he was able to pressure Justin Fields consistently throughout this football game really stood out on tape. Let's get into some of my favorite plays from Haason Reddick. Haason Reddick was a stick of dynamite for this Eagles defensive line, and it started from the opening drive. It carried through to the end of the game. Watch him here, matched up with a tight end. Don't leave tight ends one-on-one with Haason Reddick. It's not going to go well if you're an offense. He gets home for the sack fumble here, nearly a turnover for the Eagles defense, but Reddick, he's able to get home here. Watch the rush, a Superman cross-chop move, clear the hands of the right tackle, turn the corner. Watch the flexibility, attack the throwing arm. He is so good at doing this on a weekly basis, attacking the throwing arm of the opposing quarterback, gets an incompletion there. Watch him here late in the game. He's going to go bull rush and then rip through contact. Look at the flexibility and the balance there of Haason Reddick. Nearly gets Justin Fields down for another sack. He had a couple of sacks that could have been here in this game. Justin Fields wriggles away from it, but it's still Haason Reddick drawing the penalty back, so that play comes back the other way. And then later, or earlier in the game, you see Reddick against the run, recognizes this reverse. He gets out over the top, scrapes over the top here, and forces the back to slow down. Avonte Maddox and TJ Edwards get there. They force the ball out onto the ground, and then Reddick pounces on it. Force fumble recovery. Eagles get the ball. That starts with Reddick knowing full well what his responsibility is against the run. He's got to scrape over, delay that play from hitting as long as he can, allow his buddies to get there in pursuit. That's exactly what Reddick did. He's been outstanding against the run, against the pass. He had plays in coverage in this game. Reddick doing it all for this Eagles defense. There was one play that really pained me to not break down on our post-game show on PhiladelphiaEagles.com after the game, and that was a play that actually happened on the very first drive. Milton Williams chasing down a screen pass. May have seemed small at the moment, but a really pivotal play and really important just for the overall culture in that defensive meeting room. Let's break down what that play meant to me and why it stood out to me, even after watching it on film. I absolutely love this play from Milton Williams, who has really come on in the last month and a half, 2 months. Watch him here, 2nd and long. He reads this screen, a tight end screen to Cole Kmet. This is going to go for an explosive play if Milton doesn't see this and get outside as fast as possible. He tracks this down and makes the stop short of the first down marker. This would have been a first down, maybe a touchdown down the field. Milton forces it to 3rd and 1. The Eagles get a run stop on 3rd down, then a turnover on downs on the play after. The Eagles get points back because of the hustle play from Milton Williams. I nearly broke this down in the postgame show, kicking myself that I didn't do it. Just an awesome play on film from Milton Williams. All right, so from a second-year player now to a third-year player, let's talk about Kayvon Wallace, the third-year safety out of Clemson. Did a nice job here in this game. Increased snap share for Kayvon as no Reed Blankenship, no C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So what the Eagles did was they put Avonte Maddox at safety in their base defense with multiple linebackers on the field. And when they went into sub-package, what they did was slid Avonte Maddox down into the slot, his normal role, and that's where Kayvon stepped in as the starting safety. He did a nice job in this game, showed up in run game and pass game. Here are some of my favorite reps from number 42. I thought Kayvon Wallace had a really good game here as a full-time player for this Eagles defense in sub-package. And watch him here early on, opening drive. He's got to run the alley. And if you're a deep safety, you have to be able to run the alley and make plays one-on-one against David Montgomery. That's exactly what Wallace does, getting him to the ground. Later in the drive, this is going to be a designed run on 3rd and 1 for Justin Fields. A little QB sweep. Watch how quickly he triggers downhill Kayvon Wallace and forces him out of bounds. That forces 4th and short, and the Eagles get off the field on a turnover on downs. Later, you're going to see Kayvon Wallace take away that primary read. It's going to be an over route to the tight end. Justin Fields was forced to hold on to the football, results in a sack. Great coverage there by Kayvon Wallace. I thought he had a nice game on Sunday. So at the end of the day, the Eagles 13-1, outstanding performance, coming away with this win on the road in the weather against the Chicago Bears. They now go down for the final game of a 3-game road trip, Christmas Eve against the Dallas Cowboys. We'll be breaking it down on the Eagle Eye in the Sky podcast, as well as on Eagles Game Plan. You can stay tuned for all of that across all of your Eagles digital channels. Until then, we'll see you next week right here on the All-22 Review.